welcome back to my channel. My name is Kendra and today I'm going to be doing my April book buzz. This is a series I do on my channel where I go over all of the new releases that come out this month, and I'll be going through all of these books in different categories, and I'll be giving a short synopsis or a tagline from the synopsis for each book. And the first category that I want to go over is the romance category. The first book that I want to talk about is My Favorite Survivor by V. Keelan and Penelope Ward, and the synopsis on this one says, "My planned trip for two unexpectedly turned into a trip for one. Rather than let my breakup get me down, I packed my bags and decided a week at a luxury resort was just what I needed. But one calamity after the next, and suddenly I was stuck without a hotel room, along with a few hundred other people. It looked like my fancy vacation was about to turn into me sleeping on the hotel lobby floor until I overheard a gorgeous man pretending to be someone he wasn't in order to steal a reservation for my guests who hadn't shown up yet. When I realized there were two rooms, instead of calling him out, I pretended to be his sister. That's how the story of Milo and Maddie Hooker began. We were the Hookers." So this one sounds so good and I'm really excited to read this one. I love this duo author a whole lot, so I am definitely cannot wait to read this one. The next one I would talk about is Here With You by Tia Louise. And the synopsis on this one says, "Sawyer LaGrange, he's my best friend's older brother. He's quiet and sinfully sexy. Dark hair, a scruffy square jaw, and deep lines of muscle. I trace my fingers along slowly, followed by my lips. He always does what's right. Until me. They say you get in life what you have the courage to ask for. Well, I'm brave and I want him." I really like books that are about older brothers and best friends, so I am really excited to read this one. I've never read anything by this author, so I'm definitely interested in checking this one out. The next book is Tell Me Pretty Lies by Charlie Rose, and the synopsis on this one says, "3 things my mother acquired when she became engaged. A brand new Tiffany's ring, a lavish home on Heartbrook Hill, and 3 privileged stepsons. The last thing I expected was to fall for one." So this one definitely sounds really good and I can't wait to read this one. The next one is Written in the Sand by J. Marie, and the synopsis on this one says, "I'd been happy once in love until one night changed everything, changed us. The love of my life, or so I thought, had become my own worst nightmare. So here I am, back in Moonshine Springs, a place I wouldn't return to unless absolutely necessary, but that's not the biggest shock. Waiting for me with open arms and a safe place to stay is my high school best friend's brother, Beau. He's told me I'm his, but starting over isn't as easy as creating a new happily ever after. My past isn't done with me and soon enough bleeds into my present." This one sounds so good, and it definitely sounds like it's going to be like a small town romance, and it's another best friend's brother romance, so I'm definitely interested in checking this one out. The next book that I want to talk about is You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hogel, and the synopsis on this one says, "Naomi Westfield has the perfect fiance. Nicholas Rose holds doors open for her, remembers her restaurant orders, and comes from the kind of upstanding society family any bride would love to be a part of. They never fight. They're preparing for the lavish wedding that's 3 months away, and she is miserably and utterly sick of him. Naomi wants out, but there's a catch. Whoever ends the engagement will have to foot the non-refundable wedding bill." And this is a lovers to enemies to lovers romance. I have started reading this one and it is really good so far. I love the banter between the two characters and I'm really excited to finish this one. The next book I'm going to talk about is The Happily Ever After Playlist by Abby Jimenez, and this is a rom-com about a one troublemaking dog who brings together 2 perfect strangers. This one definitely sounds really good and I can't wait to read this one. The next book I'm going to talk about is Don't Go Stealing My Heart by Kelly Siskid, and the synopsis on this one says, "Some people call Clementine a criminal. She can consider herself a modern day Robin Hood who steals from the rich and gives to the poor. Not exactly on the up and up, but she knows what it's like to lose everything. Her latest heist involves swiping a priceless Van Gogh from its owner, who's supposed to be a egotistical trust fund brat. Turns out Jack David is a sexy, kind-hearted man, and Clementine is in trouble. Falling for her mark would make her her world's dumbest con woman. But Jack is charmingly persistent, always singing sweet songs in her ear." This one definitely sounds very intriguing. I'm usually not into books that deal with art per se, but This one definitely sounds like it could be really cute. The next book is Southern Storms by Brittany C. Cherry, and this is the first book in the Compass series. And the synopsis on this one says, "All I wanted to do was run away. I never expected to crash into his arms. After leaving the city life behind to escape my loveless marriage, I moved to small town Harrowborough for a fresh start. What I didn't expect was to find myself drawn to the town's black sheep. They called him Trouble, Cold, a man with a dark past." I absolutely love Brittany C. Cherry's previous books, so I am really excited to read this one. The next one is Free Me by Graham Clare. This is the first book in the Free series, and the synopsis on this one says, "It started with a parking ticket. Who knew helping her out of that one little slip of paper would turn my world upside down? I don't do commitment, yet I can't seem to stay away from her." And that's a problem, because when there's feelings involved, somebody always gets hurt. This one sounds like it's going to be really good, and I can't wait to read this one. The next one is Catching the Cowboy by Kennedy Fox, and this is the second book in the Circle B Ranch series. And the synopsis on this one says, "Settling down and starting a family is something Diesel has considered, regardless of his one-night stand reputation. However, he just might be single forever since he wants his best friend's little sister. He's been in love with her for years, but betraying his friendship could ruin everything." And this one is another best friends brother romance, and it's also, like, on the cover, it says Catching the Cowboy, so I'm assuming it is a small town romance with a little cowboy ranch type of vibe, and I'm definitely excited to check this one out. The next book is Tease Me by Amanda Bailey, and this is the fourth book in the Dare to Dream series. And this one says, Addison Cooper dates a lot. Her whole dating life is a series of first dates that never led to more. She's starting to think she may never find someone who will accept her as she is. With no one special taking up her free time, she agrees to help her brother get a mentorship program off the ground. What she doesn't expect is having to work alongside the cop who always seems to be there when she's at her worst. This one definitely sounds really interesting. I really like the cover, and I'm interested in reading the first book in the series to see if this is a series that I will like. And the last book in the romance section is One Moment Please by Amy Dawes. This is the third book in the Wait With Me series, and the synopsis on this one says, "That awkward moment when the ER doctor has to inform you that you're pregnant with his baby." That one definitely got me intrigued to read this one, and I love medical romances, so I'm really excited to check out this series. Next, I'm going to go through all of the adult contemporary, and the first one is If I Had Your Face by Frances Cha. And this one is set in contemporary Seoul, Korea, and it's about 4 young women making their way in a world defined by impossibly high standards of beauty, secret room salons catering to wealthy men, strict social hierarchies, and K-pop fan mania. I'm definitely interested in reading this one because my brother has been deployed in Korea for almost 3 years now, and I'm definitely interested in their culture, so I thought this book sounded really interesting and hope I can pick this one up soon. The next book is You and Me and Us by Allison Hammer, and this one says it is a heartbreaking yet hopeful story of a mother and daughter struggling to be a family without the one person who holds them together. I really like books that are set around mothers and daughters, so I am definitely interested in checking this one out. And the last book for the adult contemporary is One Perfect Summer by Brenda Novak, and the synopsis on this one says, when Serenity Alston swabbed her cheek for 23andMe, she joked about uncovering some dark ancestral scandal. The last thing she expected was to discover 2 half-sisters she didn't know existed. Suddenly, everything about her loving family is drawn into question, and meeting those newfound sisters might be the only way to get answers. This one definitely sounds really, really interesting because I have also done 23andMe, and it would definitely be really interesting if you had other relatives out there or even siblings that you didn't know about, but it's very interesting, and I'm definitely excited to check this one out. Next, I'm going to go through all of the thrillers that I'm interested in. The first one is Little Secrets by Jennifer Hillier. The synopsis on this one says, Marion had the perfect life married to her college sweetheart. She owns a chain of upscale hair salons, and Derek runs his own company. They're admired in their community and are a loving family, up until the day Sebastian is taken. This one is really good, and I've already read this one. I gave it 5 stars, so I definitely recommend picking this one up when it comes out. The next thriller is The New Husband by DJ Palmer, and the tagline on this one says, "Just because you love someone doesn't mean you know them." I also have a arc of this one that I got through a trade group on Facebook, and I'm really excited to read this one. The next one is The Missing Sister by Elle Mar, and this one says, "In Paris, her twin sister has vanished, leaving behind 3 chilling words: trust no one." I'm really excited to read this one. I like books that are set in Paris, so hopefully I can read this one soon. The next one is Pretty Things by Janelle Brown, and this one says, 2 brilliant, damaged women try to survive the greatest game of deceit and destruction they will ever play. This one sounds intriguing, and this cover has caught my eye so much here in the past few months on Instagram, and I've seen it being traded on Facebook, and it just sounds interesting, and hopefully I can get my hands on it to read. And the last thriller is The Split by Sharon Bolton, and the synopsis on this one says, "No matter how far you run, some secrets will always catch up with you." And this one is set in Antarctica, and I find that very interesting. I've never read anything that has been set in Antarctica before, and I'm definitely intrigued, so hopefully I can read this one in the near future. Next, I'm going to go through all of the historical fiction that I'm interested in. The first one is The Book of Lost Friends by Lisa Weingate, and this one says it's about a story of 3 young women on a journey in search of a family amidst the destruction of the post-Civil War South, and of a modern-day teacher who rediscovers their story and its connection to her own students' lives. This one definitely sounds really interesting, and hopefully I can read this one soon. I have her previous book, haven't read yet, but has great reviews, so I'm hoping this one is going to be good as well. The next one that I want to talk about is Conjuring Women by Afia Adekora, and this one is about a mother and daughter with a shared talent for healing and for the conjuring of cures, and this one is a magical realism as well as a historical fiction, and this one just sounds really intriguing. The next one is The German Heiress by Annika Scott, and this is about a German heiress on the run in post-World War II in Germany. I love books that are set during World War II, so I'm definitely interested in checking this one out. The next one I want to talk about is Truths I Never Told You by Kelly Rimmer, and the synopsis on this one says, with her father recently moved to a care facility for his worsening dementia, Beth Wallish volunteers to clear out the family home and is surprised to discover the door to her childhood playroom padlocked. She's even more shocked at what's behind it: a hoarder's mess of her father's paintings, mounds of discarded papers, and a miscellaneous junk in the otherwise tidy house. As she picks through the clutter, she finds a loose journal entry in what appears to be her late mother's handwriting. Beth and her siblings grew up believing their mother died in a car accident when they were little, more than toddlers, but this note suggests something much darker. This one sounds really good. I have read a previous book by this author that was also historical fiction, so I'm really excited to check this one out. And the last book that I have in this category is Where the Lost Wander by Amy Harmon, and this is a epic and haunting love story set on the Oregon Trail. A family and their unlikely protector found their way through uncertainty and loss. So I'm really excited to read this one. I have read another book by the same author and really liked it, so I'm definitely excited to check this one out. And the last book that I want to talk about is a dystopian, and this is Masterclass by Christina Doucher, and the synopsis on this one says, every child's potential is regularly determined by a standardized measurement, their quotient. Score high enough and attend a top-tier school with a golden future. Score too low and it's off to a federal boarding school with limited prospects afterwards. The purpose: an improved society where education costs drop, teachers focus on the more promising students, and parents are happy. This one sounds so interesting, and I really can't wait to read this one. I think this is actually going to be my next read after I finish my current book, so hopefully I really like it because it sounds so good. So those are all the books that I'm interested in that come out this month. Let me know in the comments if you're interested in any of these books or if you've read any of them and what you thought about them. And until then, I'll see you in my next video. Bye!